So the verdict is in. We have a two-tiered justice system. Again, who would have thought? DC jury found Michael Sussman not guilty of the crime of lying to the FBI. Now, for those that haven't been following the trial, in a nutshell, this is what happened. Sussman was a lawyer that was working for the behest of the Hillary Clinton campaign. Hilary, Sussman, a guy named Rodney Jaffe, and a bunch of others concocted the entire Russia collusion story, particularly the Alpha Bank story is what this trial was about. It turned out that that was false. It was all designed to smear Donald Trump, to get the FBI investigating him, and to get the media trying to spread this Russia collusion narrative. We now know from this trial that Hillary Clinton personally authorized the disseminating of this false information. We know that the FBI thought it was garbage, but people at the top of the FBI still wanted to go ahead and investigate. All of that is more important, that knowledge, than Sussman being indicted. Now, we're not shocked that Sussman wasn't actually found guilty of these crimes because of the makeup of the jury. It's a DC jury. Historically, they've allowed the Democrats to get away with corruption, and they've gone as hard as possible against anyone who is against the Democratic Party. So this jury was made up of 3 Hillary Clinton donors and, shockingly, even a woman whose daughter is on a rowing team with the aforementioned Sussman, who the trial was about. But unbelievably, the Obama-appointed judge was like, that's okay, we could go ahead with this. So I predicted, as did many other people, that there would be no conviction of this. That sucks because there should be a conviction because this shows the double standard. Remember, the entire going around against Trump people and charging people connected to the Trump orbit was they lied to the FBI. So the idea that all of a sudden it's not important to lie to the FBI when it's a Democrat doing it is just absurd. But I think this is less important than the grander scheme of things. What this trial showed us was Hillary Clinton personally approved of the fake Russia Alpha Bank story and it wanted it disseminated. The FBI knew that it was garbage, but top brass at the FBI were excited to go ahead and investigate Trump anyways. This is just further proof that shows the corruption of the FBI and how there was a literal coup that went against Trump that was started by the Hillary Clinton campaign, that people in the Obama administration, while he was still there, gave the thumbs up, and that our FBI was weaponized as a tool of the Democratic Party to go after an opponent, Donald Trump. This is a literal coup that's worse than anything Republicans did after the election of Joe Biden, and yet it's basically non-punished and not talked about in our mainstream media circles. But I also don't think that this is the victory that Democrats want to claim. Now, Democrats constantly rely on the fact that these institutions are corrupt and then point to the institutions as an authority to prove that their side's always right. So, for example, if someone in the Trump orbit's charged, they say, aha, that's proof. Someone in the Trump orbit was charged, that's proof that they must be nefarious. And if those same institutions don't charge Democrats, they say, aha, see, Hillary did nothing wrong. They were exonerated by Comey. They weren't charged by Comey, etc., etc. This is despite the fact that we can see even in the investigation of Hillary Clinton, we know for a fact that people in the Clinton orbit deleted subpoenaed emails. We know that FBI agents through their notes said that they thought Hillary was absolutely lying to them when she said she thought that the C at the top of documents meant alphabetical order and not a classification or classified marking. So despite all of that, Democrats will say, aha, see, if there weren't charges, then nothing's wrong. And if there are charges brought against Trump people, then that proves that they're corrupt. But even if that's the case, look at what this trial would mean if you're those people. Now, the Democrats have to believe, Sussman did no wrong. James Baker, an FBI agent who I believe now is working for Twitter, ironically, he testified in this trial that Sussman lied to them. And so the entire case of the prosecution, which I thought was ridiculous, was that the FBI was duped by these Clinton people into thinking that this was just organic information that they stumbled upon that wasn't sourced by the Clinton campaign and that it was truthful and that the FBI needed to investigate this. And so, shucks, the poor FBI was duped by people in the Hillary clamp like Sussman. But if we're going to say no, the jury found that Sussman wasn't lying, okay, then what's the implications of this? Any Democrat out there saying, see, this proves there's no corruption. No, what this proves is the FBI lied then. Baker testified that Sussman lied. If Democrats say this jury felt that Sussman didn't lie, that means Baker lied. That means the FBI lied. There are no two ways about this. And so Democrats celebrating that somehow this not guilty verdict proves that there wasn't corruption, it actually proves the opposite. And if you followed any of the trial, it was ironic because the prosecution, the Durham people, they were sort of arguing with people from the FBI on their side saying, we were duped, we were misled by these people. Sussman's defense was, we didn't lie to the FBI. We told them the truth. And so all sides are agreeing that this story was garbage, the Alpha Bank story was garbage, and even FBI agents testified that they knew that it didn't pass the smell test from the very beginning at looking at these documents. And yet, if we're to believe that this jury did a correct job, which I don't, but that's what the Democrats are going to claim, anyone who supports Biden or hates Trump, they're going to say, see, this proves no corruption. No, it actually proves the opposite. It proves that then, okay, Baker and those people at the FBI lied. Sussman told the truth, and the FBI lied. They knew this was garbage from the Hillary camp. They went ahead and used it to spy on and investigate Trump anyways. They had leaks to the media designed to damage Trump. They had a 3 to 4 year investigation designed to stymie Trump's administration. And they knew it was garbage from the get-go that was funded by Hillary Clinton. And when they got caught with their hand in the cookie jar, they lied and said, we didn't know. Either that or the other thing, as I've heard potentially a juror said, was we think that there's bigger things to worry about than lying to the FBI. Well, if that's the take that the Democrats are going to pull, not that Sussman told the truth and the FBI lied, but okay, Sussman probably lied, but it doesn't matter because lying to the FBI is not that big of a deal, then they're going to have to explain the treatment of Flynn, the treatment of Papadopolous, the treatment of Roger Stone, and a litany of other people that they say, oh my God, these people were convicted, they were charged, this proves the Trump-Russia collusion thing in some way. Why is it that all of a sudden, as soon as we have a Hillary person connected to lying to the FBI, all of a sudden the mainstream media, the Democratic Party, all the people that screamed about those convicted or charged under Trump for lying to the FBI, now it's not a big deal. There's bigger fish to fry, bigger things to worry about. There weren't bigger things to worry about when the Mueller investigation was spending untold amounts of money investigating for over a year, going after Trump people for allegedly lying to them and the FBI. But now all of a sudden it's time to move on. Lying to the FBI doesn't matter. Either way, this destroys the Democrat narrative. You have to believe one of two things if you're a Democrat thinking that this trial was good for you. One, that lying to the FBI is not that big of a deal, in which case they themselves out themselves as corrupt and having a double standard based on how they cheered going after anyone connected to Trump for that very crime. Or second, that yes, Sussman told the truth, which means that the FBI agents that testified that Sussman lied themselves were liars and should, by default, be under investigation for lying about those sorts of things. The Democrats can't get around it. Of course, I don't expect them to witness this double standard or care about it because all they care about is power, and they've showed themselves over and over again to have a double standard and want this two-tiered justice system that we have. But remember, any Democrat that's out there telling you that this trial proves that there wasn't corruption proves the exact opposite. If they believe Sussman told the truth, then they're believing the FBI knew that this garbage disinformation came from the Hillary camp, and then they lied about it. So if you like this video, please like and subscribe. I'll be putting more videos up regularly here on YouTube. Also, follow my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/RobNor, where I stream almost every weeknight around 10 p.m. Eastern. Thanks so much, everyone, and have a good one.